It's 9 o'clock, we're back.
We're back live.
Back live.
Well, I guess there's nothing we need to do anyway, because the governor done it.
Yeah.
Well, I just kinda figured something would've
Well-
come down to the county
I
level on
don't
that.
think we as a county can do anything anyway. We don't own water.
Right.
The city has been.
It'd be the cities and the water boards that, and I haven't heard anything from the water board.
I get my mic for a little bit.
I kinda flipped through them. Flipped
I
through
guess
the
you
checks.
just shut it off, you don't like hamburger. Don't know.
You take a call right now. Oh, okay.
Let's see, we have one inmate in Allen County, that was $35 plus pay somebody to go down, take him down, somebody to go down and bring him back next day, plus expenses. Pretty expensive.
Pretty expensive.
I bet a couple $100
Oh, sure.
for one inmate. You got cattle, Tim? On water?
It's down to 2. It's down to 2.
Did you think they're gonna shut you off?
I was talking to Les McGee. Western Watering quite a few.
Oh, yeah. So it's, Ron Homey over by Alice. He waters through rural water all year round.
2.5 hours it takes Les to just water the cattle a day. What he told me.
Is he hauling water or?
And he's, has a big tank. He said how many gallons, he just leaves the faucet on and fills it, and he pumps from his tank into his truck that he drives around in.
So he's actually hauling water to stock tanks
Yep.
out in the field for
Out
the
in
winter.
the pastures. I called him to talk to him for about 5 minutes. I ended up in the driveway for 45 minutes talking to him. He goes, Tim, don't worry, I'm no hurry, I'm filling a water tank.
Yeah, he was in no hurry, wasn't he? I'll see him the 10th again.
So Bob, are you gonna get off of all the other boards that you're on, or you just done
No.
with the commission?
No, I'm just gonna get off of the ones that are
Tied to the commission?
tied to the commission, yeah. I will probably still be on the, EMS board, I'll still be on the, Area Agents for Aging, still be on the water board. So, yeah, it's not like I'm getting off board.
You'll still be busy. You'll still have something to do.
I'll still have some.
So I have some information. I just talked to the city clerk, and regarding that water drought emergency warning I just gave you from the governor, the city can issue water restrictions at any time, and they took this from the governor to mean that they needed to do that. But when they sent their resolution up to the state water office, they came back and said there was no need for them to do that at this point. It's just a drought emergency
Declaration.
warning, and so they're supposed to watch. And then if it goes to the next level, then there would be water restrictions. So really, they didn't need to do that at this point. So
Okay.
they're going to rescind it, she said, at the next meeting, and take the water restrictions off.
Okay.
So,
Good, I can, my truck again.
Did they shut all the car washes down? They didn't?
No, they just, you couldn't wash them at your house.
Okay. What's the difference, washing them at the house or washing them at the car wash?
COVID.
COVID
You,
goes
you
to
could
house.
wash your vehicle at your house, but it had to be before 10 a.m. and after 9 p.m.
No, okay.
Well,
And then you have to water your yard if you.
Only on odd numbers a day.
Well, yeah, odd number, if your address was an odd address, you could water your yard that day, but if it's.
so your neighbors, it was, actually was across the street, because one side's odd, one's even.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what it said on Facebook, so.
Right. I didn't shut my well down, I just used water whenever I wanted. I don't think we've ever.
I would rather wash my vehicle by hand. I've got a little electric power washer that I use, so I don't, water isn't just running.
Is this all the checks and vouchers we got?
Well, we
Road and
should
bridge.
have road.
Should have more coming.
Jeff didn't say he was bringing, I spoke to him this morning, Goldberg's engineer firm called, civil engineering firm called yesterday about the parking lot. Set up a visitation and lay eyes on it Thursday next week at 1 o'clock. I called Jeff on that this morning, and he didn't say anything about bringing stuff up. He may have, hopefully he didn't forget.
Well, sure, Michelle probably will remind him.
Elk County Sheriff's Office, $1,540.
That's down Howard.
That's Howard,
That's a pretty
inmate.
good drive, too.
Inmate housing.
Yeah, it is.
Used to be a Hanks that was a sheriff down there, he passed away. What was his name? Doug Hanks?
church bill went away on the utilities.
It should. I'm glad. Yeah, we had one person there for 28 days.
One person for 28 days was $1,540.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
Jeff said they're running a little behind, but they'll be here.
We got all day. I'm sure Wade will have something for us.
Mhm.
I came in a county vehicle.
My coffee's not working.
Your coffee's not
Here's-
working?
Here's some Sprite.
He woke up.
Had to wake up earlier. Maybe that's a
I was
problem.
up at 3:30.
There's a problem.
Out at Beto until about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Granddaughter of mine, autistic, and they don't sleep. We had the other night, it was at 2 a.m.
Mm.
But then it went back to sleep, so see, that's probably what you need to do, you go back to bed for a while.
We as a committee, did we get, we buy coffee?
Hmm?
Did we as commissioners buy coffee? There's one from Hoover's, it's got the commissioner deal down here on Bonham.
Probably for the coffee
That
pot.
Do we,
Somebody got by it, I guess.
I guess.
I made a pot, you wanna?
No, I'm kinda like Tim Sykes. When are they gonna start buying iced tea for the non-coffee drinkers?
Angie gave me some this morning. She gave me a tea packet, cold brew tea.
There you go.
Just always, always Tim's question, if we buy coffee for everybody in county, how come we don't buy iced tea for the ones that don't drink coffee? I guess it doesn't matter to me now anyways. I'm moving on.
I think I can buy myself a nice tea once a week.
Well, I figured I can take care of my own drink too, but it's just, I think Tim was just trying to make a point.
I understand.
didn't buy coffee, you could support the coffee house.
It would be interesting to know just how much money we do spend a year, like on coffee and stuff.
Oh, I'm sure it could be,
I bet it'd be I bet we'd be surprised at how much we do spend.
coffee, and creamer, and
Creamer
sugar.
and the cups and stuff for it, I bet it would be amazing. We would be shocked. Decided to check for Lyon County yet?
Yeah.
$3,195.
Mm-hmm.
One or two,
Huh?
one or two over there.
Three for a total of 60, 100 for 101 days. There's four of them for 101 days. That, what they cost per day. It's about like $35 a day, I suppose, something like that.
Yeah, that still seems awfully cheap to me, $35 a day.
It does, doesn't
You
it?
know, I mean,
Average motel room for me, or
$8.
Wayne Gal.
Yeah, but your motel room ain't near as nice as those cells. And they don't feed you at the motel, do they?
No.
Just complimentary breakfast, that's it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Campers go in. Propane, $1.95.
What's the trustee check?
The what?
The trustee check?
Trustee.
Carl B. Davis, trustee, automatic invoice for payroll.
There would be somebody's garnishment or something.
Might be.
Yeah, I
Let
mean,
me
we're
check
thinking,
with Terry real quick, 'cause I'm not sure on that.
Kansas things. I'm just gonna slide another one on you, so it's another stack.
No, we don't, do near as much business with quail as we used to, the quill, when they were giving away the free gifts. They don't give them away anymore, but after we passed policy, you couldn't accept free gifts from them organizations. It really cut down on the purchases from them. Yeah.
Funny how that works.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
Well, I won't even get started.
If you guys get time, go out here on Native Road by Dr. Sloyer's house. He's got the old truck sitting in everybody's driveway. You got a real nice display out there. They got the hood up and he's made a man look just like the guy is leaning over the hood right on the truck. Got the leg, got two big old pumpkins there in the back. Looks like he's a plumber. It's a really nice display. Yes, it's great.
You have to take out of the,
Oh,
or it was a state thing,
oh, okay.
garnishment.
Oh, okay.
Angie, what is New Directions?
That's the drug testing company.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. No.
No,
Back up.
first I thought it's not.
It is the company that we pay for, employees, when they need assistance. Like they can call in for, mental or,
Well,
employee assistance.
we had 160 head count for last month on that.
Yeah, we pay by the person.
Yeah.
So everybody on the payroll's gotta be on it?
Well, that's how we originally set it up.
That's why I just didn't know if
Yeah.
they just did a service, but you gotta pay, you have to pay so much per head would be my guess,
Yeah.
your payroll.
Well, do we, or just when they use it?
No, we have to pay so much
Oh,
per.
okay, that's why I said.
There would be a minimum charge out.
That's,
so-
okay, that's what, okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So, I thought 160 people used that, what was it?
Yeah. No, it's just.
There's a lot of issues.
Only 80 used it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
The other half didn't care.
Let's see if that's all, it doesn't move forward.
What's a Westgate 2x4? It's electric or something. We did 7 of them, whatever it is. I don't have any idea what it would be. Just curious. It cost us, $875, whatever it was. And what would we have gotten?
Westgate 2x4?
Westgate 2x4, that's all it says. What it is. Tweed Electric.
Light?
Did 7 of them.
lights.
Lights?
Probably the new lights that was put in the hallway,
No, okay.
or in places.
Alright. I didn't know.
How much was it?
$125 piece.
These are 127 online.
How much is the total bill?
$875. Well, then there's another, well, that's for those, there's more added to it, I had 254, I suppose that is for, but yeah, because it's labor, no, that's for door openers. No, it's for door, this is for door openers. I just didn't know what Westgate was.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys approved that big of a project to be done.
Well, I knew we were supposed to have some type of lights.
Oh, wait.
Hi, Wade.
Good morning, Wade.
I knew we were supposed to have some type of lights that was supposed to be,
Well, you know, like these, you got 2 different colors in there. You get rid of those ballasts, it gets rid of a lot of.
congratulations, sir.
Four?
Well, if you don't know, then I guess I won't say.
Don't look at me, Wade, I don't know.
I didn't do anything.
You got a meeting at 10 o'clock, do you?
Yep.
How long will that take?
30 minutes, maybe.
You got anything for
An
us
hour.
today? Got stuff for us today?
I need to check with Tom, Sheriff Tom, and he may have something to at least talk about in reference to the parking lot. I think there's some wires that are being crossed that, I think a conversation that Tom and I had with Goldberg, and then Sheriff Tom's talked to Goldberg, and there's maybe miscommunication about which parking lot and a water issue. So, and I think you know what I'm talking about, so.
Maybe we got too many contacts. Maybe one person ought to be doing all of it instead of 3 or 4.
Well, I think the contact that Sheriff Tom is having is in reference to a different issue, but it sort of spilled over, no pun intended, to this other.
Wait,
I think it just is,
Sheriff Tom here now?
I believe so.
Can we take care of it?
He's got a meeting at 10.
How long-
Wade does.
How long,
His, Wade said it'd be 30 minutes.
I mean, how long was the conversation for Tom taking?
I don't think it'd take too long.
We can, before 10.
Yeah, you can see it, I can see if he's available.
Yeah, I just think if Wade has something for us after 10,
Right.
we might as well have Tom in here talking now, because we're waiting on checks anyway, we're waiting on vouchers.
Right. Unless you want to do it afterwards.
Doesn't matter to me.
Call him up, we'll take care of it then. I'm easy. Not cheap, but I'm easy.
As you probably, have gathered by now, I was out of town. I don't advertise when I'm gonna be gone for reasons I've stated before. Last Thursday and Friday, I was in the training in Wichita for Prosecutors Association, and then Monday and Tuesday for impaired driving.
You were impaired driving?
I hope not. But I did save the county some money on the Thursday, Friday trip.
Oh, yeah?
the hotel comped my room on Wednesday night and Thursday night because they had to move me. So I said, well, so that you don't have to, we apologize for the troubles or the inconvenience. I don't care. I said, well, we're gonna comp your room.
Good.
Nice.
Being there's a convention there, we probably run about $150 a night.
We get a discounted rate, but I don't know what that rate is. I'll get a hold of Tom, see if he's available.
A lot of numbers in that blue book, though.
Yeah, I'm just looking,
He's on his way.
On his way? Okay.
I'm just looking at some of the salaries and thinking,
You know, we drive vehicles to the job site, basically work 8 hours, driving back. And what I used to spend 2,000 to 3,000 on now is 4,000 to 5,000.
Mm-hmm. Government.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Mr. Johnson, Mr. Smith,
Little old me.
we're getting teamed up on.
Do you have breakfast?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Eric brought his sidekick with him, or Tom brought it. Which way is that guy?
You know what day it is.
You're just a team, right? How are things going out to lake? You've been getting a lot of fishers.
No, there's been a lot of fishermen out there.
Are they catching anything?
Big cats.
Big cats. Blues. I've only fished that lake one time. And it was probably too windy to be out with the boat that we had.
That happens out there.
Drifting. That big sock sitting out there and that water coming over the back of that, ooh,
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Fun times.
I didn't like that. It's not this fat guy's cup of tea.
You got your life jacket on?
Yes, sir.
Is the water cold?
Yes, sir.
So it really wouldn't save you, they just found it.
They did found me quicker.
It doesn't to see.
You see, they were heading on me.
Burn out my retina.
Floor is open, gentlemen.
Commissioner Tom, and I'll distinguish Commissioner Tom and Sheriff Tom, because there's two Toms. Commissioner Tom and I had a conversation with, Mr. Goldberg a couple weeks ago, and I believe Commissioner Tom brought it up last week or the week before in reference to the parking lot, and the question about who was gonna, provide the engineering for the, or the architecture renderings for the parking lot. So that was the conversation that we had with Mr. Goldberg, and he indicated he would be a part of that project, and he would be responsible, and he had people who were involved, so that's what the update was. Since that time, it's my understanding, and Commissioner Tom can correct me if I'm wrong, that there's been a conversation with the city about what that would look like, if there were any issues, and I think the main issue is water runoff and how that would be maintained. Enter Sheriff Tom for a completely different issue that doesn't have to do with that parking lot, in a conversation with Mr. Goldberg and some other people about some logistics around where the new jail will be. There's maybe either Mr. Goldberg has misunderstood, but a concern about the water runoff and the parking lot next to where the jail will be, and I don't think that's what the issue is. So maybe just to sort of bring things back to center, I'll pass it on to Sheriff Tom, and then Commissioner Tom can sort of maybe bring it back together. That's sort of, I think, what the issue is, and maybe I've misunderstood.
Again, it could be, me too. So, we realize that the construction, tear down, demolishing of this parking lot is going to be, obviously, as Goldberg said, within 8 months from August when we got this passed. So we realize that, we can't sit on our haunches. We need to get with the elementary school and talk to them about the congestion that's going to occur, the mud on the street, and all of that, coming on 7th Street, what they call 7th, and then going, of course, east behind the back of the current jail, back onto Neosho. Pardon me?
That'd be Des Moines Street back
Yeah,
here.
Des Moines back over to 6th Street. So, we called the school, we called the superintendent, Craig Marshall, and had a meeting to discuss some issues and let them know what was going on and see if we could do anything for them. And we've had another meeting. So I reached out to Craig here a week ago and said, Craig, I haven't heard anything from you. We're here to help you and make this transition easier for you. What have you decided to do? Frankly, nothing. He said, we need to have another meeting. So we met yesterday. We met with City Street Department, Mark
Davidson.
Yeah. Craig Marshall, Margarito Solano, who's their maintenance manager for the school, and Craig and Eric and I. And as you know, that Goldberg, I'm sure you've seen it, he's distributed to everybody. Goldberg has a basic drawing of what the new parking lot would look like. And we had originally talked about having diagonal parking from 7th to Neosho, or 7th to 6th, and then south on Neosho, or I'm sorry, south on 6th, so we would have additional parking, diagonal parking along the north and east side of the courthouse. It would give us another 40-some spots. So what we devised to the school was, why don't we extend that west a block and go from 8th to 7th, put diagonal parking on the south side of Neosho to give you about 20 spots. Because along the east side of the school, there's 19 slots that their teachers park at, and we're just trying to tell them that there's going to be semis coming in, or dump trucks, and all this stuff out. And of course, somebody said there's going to be backing accidents if there's cars parked there. Teachers are going to back out and hit somebody, or a dump truck's going to scrape somebody. And we all understand that. That's life. But if we can help eliminate some of those issues and congestion, that's what we're here to do. We're not going to try to take away your drop-off point for your kids, because they are adamant that will cause some issues. And again, we're not here to exacerbate those issues. So upon talking to all of them, they had no problem whatsoever with parking from 8th to 6th and then south. The street department For the city said, I'm all for that. He said, there's no problem, it'll be just like it is downtown. There's plenty of room here. I mean, you're not talking about putting parking on both sides, but you could. It'd be just like it is downtown. This street is plenty wide enough. He said, I anticipated this. He said, I've looked and you may have to take out one tree. That's it, one tree, no problems whatsoever. This can easily be done, if that's what we agreed to do. Of course, Craig said, listen, if this is what we want to do, I have to take it to my board. Well, to be truthful, I don't know why they have to take it to the board, it's a city street. But that's what Craig said, I understand that. And of course, so did Mark. He said, I'd have to take it to the city council and see if that's okay to do. So I had mentioned that I had been told that part of the issue, I was told that we'd been denied, that we could not do that. The city didn't want this. And so the street superintendent said, well, who told you that? And I said, I don't know, but I was told that it was a water issue, drainage. And he said, no, there's not. It won't change anything. He said, there's no issues here with doing that diagonal parking from 8th to 6th and then south. No problem whatsoever.
Just on the south side of No Show, right?
That's all we talked about was on the south side, yeah. Not on both sides, just on the south side. Because again, what we were looking at, and we've said from day one, we hoped there'd be at least 120 parking stalls. Somewhere accessible to the county for any type of trials that we have, you know, plus just employee parking. And we're trying to get, you know, that close parking where people don't have to walk 2 blocks to come to work. So we'd had several other, we brought our plans, we brought our drawings and everything to this meeting. And we talked about a couple of other issues, like one just on the south side of the jail, that grass parking or grass playground area. You know, could we just have enough for a parking spot there? That's not gonna happen. City, the school board is not willing to do that, you know. Anyway, so I had then sent emails out to Wade when we got back. The consensus was that we talked to you, they talked to the school board, the city would talk at their next council meeting and see if this could work out, this diagonal parking. So when we get back, I email Goldberg and Wade and everything else saying that this meeting had occurred and this is what we're going to be done. And Goldberg was under the impression that, again, he'd been told we weren't going to do this. So he then says, you know, I'll have to make my drawings back up again. And he said, I mean, I can get my geological engineer down here, but he said, I don't know. He said what he was told was there's an 8-inch drainage is all there is. And he said, if it changes some water, 8-inch drain is not a big, you know, is not a lot of water drainage. But he said it would be no problem whatsoever to put in a 10 or 12-inch drain. He said that's not a big deal. But needless to say, he just said we need to make a decision on this so we can get plans finalized. And I said as soon as I got, he said he's going to make a new drawing showing the 8th, you know, to 7th Street, which we didn't have, show that additional parking in a you know, rendering, and then I could give that to the city and give that to you and the school board to see if that's something that we want to do.
It only makes sense to me if the city's on board and says it's not a problem. It only makes sense to me to do it because on big court day, for example, you're going to need that parking. And there have been a few times there's been things going on over at school during the day, and there was not enough parking. But now when it's all said and done, we're going to give them back their angle parking along 7th Street, right?
So
on their side.
Goldberg, I asked specifically, how long is it going to take for once you have a backhoe in there and you're tearing up concrete with jackhammers, how long are you going to be demoing that parking lot? And he said 6 to 8 weeks they'd be done. So we told the school, I would tell the school, I didn't talk to Goldberg until after I met with the school, but I told Craig I would let him know. 6 to 8 weeks, folks, we're not going to eliminate your parking spots. But for your convenience, we're going to put 20 parking spots on the Osho. Yeah, you may have to walk an additional, 60 feet from where you're parking at on the east side of the building. We're going to give you that same number on the Osho to walk in the front of the school if that's what it takes. So those people that are don't want to drive through the mud that may be there or have a possibility of having a backing accident or whatever it may be, think there's gonna be flying debris, something, you know, if that's their concerns, we're gonna give them parking on the O-Show. And in 6 or 8 weeks, it'll be done with, that portion of it, and they can have that 7th Street parking again.
So I guess hindsight being what it is, I know, Bob said one day that, the street department did have concerns about the parking lot over there and. so-
We're talking about the new parking lot, the
Correct.
church. Okay.
Church, and I told him I would take care of it, so to speak, and meet with the city, and I had Jeff from Road and Bridge there, and the initial conversation I had with the city, I just had one conversation, we did talk about the off-street parking, diagonal on the north side of the courthouse, as well as the church parking lot. And his first comment was, there's a lot of infrastructure in that area, it may not be a good idea. So that's why I suggested that we do diagonal parking over here on the east side of the street on 6th, you know, and not go that route. So, but evidently Mr. Davidson's had a kind of a change of thought, which I don't have a problem with, but I was just going off his original suggestion that a lot of infrastructure there, maybe it wouldn't be a good idea.
So again, don't know the answer to that. I don't know whether I misinterpreted the parking lot, okay? Let's talk about the existing parking lot and the church parking lot. Because my question to Goldberg was, because I was confused, I said, what's the difference? There's concrete and asphalt there now, and if they put a building on it, what's that gonna change to the water flow? Well, of course, Tom Eric, you know, says, and so does Wade, listen, they may be talking about the church parking lot, which was gravel, you know, compacted in. Now it's gonna be pavement or be concrete. And that water runoff, it may not be able to handle because it will probably not soak in the gravel, it's gonna run off that concrete.
And that was the street department's concern at that time.
Right.
That we don't just flood the property to the north. And so, with that being said, I was just wanting
Yeah.
to make sure that their civil engineer met with the street superintendent and road and bridge, and everybody was kind of on the same page, and maybe hindsight being what it is, you should have been included as well, but I was just thinking, that's kind of your deal, and that's kind of our deal, so.
And again, we probably wouldn't have ran into this if I hadn't looked forward and trying to appease the school. Because again, we are gonna be, you know, a thorn in their side for 6 to 8 weeks, well, the entire process
Whole
probably.
process.
But especially, because I told him, I said, listen, you know, Craig, and Darla was there, she was there the first time, the principal. We're just trying to give you a heads up.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, their concern was, we want our people moved from there during this time, because a dump truck pulls in there to get a load of concrete or a load of dirt, and then some teacher or parent needs to leave, and now they're back, you know, closed in by a semi, you know, or a dump truck. And so that's when we come up with this, well, we'll just park you on the north side of the property on the O-Show. So, I think, you know, if you, you know, are agreeable to this, then again, I'll tell Goldberg that, yep, go ahead with this process and get your civil engineer, your geological engineer, whatever he is, to get with the city to make sure this isn't an issue. But he said, even if it is, Tom, it's gonna be, telling me, Tom, there's no issue of fixing that drainage pipe to make it a little bigger. That's not a big fix.
Yeah, we did have that conversation.
Yeah.
That, I think that's the city's only major concern, is
Yeah.
that pipe is way undersized for whatever's gonna take place.
Yeah.
So, I know he wanted that addressed, Mark
Yeah.
did. And again, I'll go back to the original conversation that, you know, north side of the courthouse, a lot of infrastructure there, maybe not such a good idea. So, but I mean, if the city's on board with all that, I'm fine.
He
I'm
said
not gonna
there's
delegate.
no utilities there that are gonna cause a problem
Thank you,
with
sir.
any of this parking.
He said he didn't believe there were utilities ever gonna cause a problem. There may be some there, but it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
What?
But he was saying that without looking at the plans too. So.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know there's, for the streetlights, there's some underground electrical that may or may not have to be changed.
Yeah.
Again, it was just one conversation, and he's
Yeah.
probably looked into it further and
yeah.
had a different, and we haven't conversed since then, so.
I know that he's looked into it because he said, I anticipate that, and I can tell you right now, one tree is the only tree that's gonna have to come out. So he's looked into it a little bit, or at least, you know,
He's studied it further.
done something with it, yeah. So that's all we wanted to make sure was that, and again, again, believe me, all we were trying to do was help the school out and let them know what's going on, and it's kind of delved into this, so.
Well, I know Goldberg, their civil engineer is coming Thursday
Oh,
next
okay.
week.
I don't know that.
No, I'm just bringing it forward now, and I was gonna mention it, I actually mentioned it earlier, but Thursday next week at 1, we're gonna meet on site with the street superintendent and Road and Bridge, and make sure everybody's comfortable with whatever, and this is shining a new light on additional parking, so,
You said it's at 1 o'clock, Tom?
yes, sir.
Well, I had a conversation with the city before Tom got involved in it. This has been quite a long time ago, right, basically after we bought the church. And the only thing that they told me was they wanted to, before we did that parking, they want to probably dig out and put a new line from Sixth to the creek, which is, that's some of the conversation I ever had with them on that part of it. But one thing he said, we're not going to affect the drop-off for the kids, so they will still be able to drive through there. So in a sense, or at school time, we're probably gonna be telling the contractors is, we got a window right here
Yeah.
that we need open.
Yeah.
So,
We talked
yeah,
to them.
work with them best we can.
Yeah, for example, when
Yeah.
Nabholz came down to do a site inspection, I took them around and showed them the area or whatever, and we walked over there and talked to them about that. You know, and said, listen, between, 7:30 and 8:30, you may not be able to park anything in here, so we have a traffic flow through here for people dropping off, and the same thing in the afternoon when school's out. And they said, well, we'll make it work. I said, we worked tighter spots than this in downtown Kansas City, so they didn't act like it was that big a deal, but, yeah, we tried to address it. All we were trying to do was make sure the school was okay with it, and we knew there was gonna be congestion. We're just trying to help them out and make sure that they run smoothly. We don't just, because they said, listen, there's no way that we can shut this east drop-off down. We have to have this open. So that's all we're doing, is trying to work with the school.
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense.
Well, and one good thing, a lot of the construction is gonna be through the summer months, for the most part, at the startup. There's gonna be some during while school's probably still in session, but the big majority of it's probably gonna hit the summertime.
We hope that the
Well, we're talking 16 months, so you're gonna catch the school year at some point.
Right, exactly.
So that's all we're hoping is that, that 6 or 8 week window of them demo and everything, getting the basement dug out and concrete forms put in and concrete work done, everything else, get that in and out, so.
Just sounds to me like there was 2 different parking lots being talked about at the same time, confusion between the 2.
Yeah. So, other than that, I talked to Larry yesterday. He says things are going, they're ready to get plans all set down, blueprints made up, whatever it is they're doing. I know that, is it Monday when we meet with CMs?
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
So, am I supposed to be part of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Or I would like you to be.
Yes.
I mean, that's, like I said,
Most definitely.
it's kind of your baby, but yet I've done my calling of the avenues that I know best to do for me, to do my research on each one of them, so.
I called 16 entities.
You ought to have some results, information.
I called 16 places,
That's good, so.
so, getting information from them, so.
I know a lot of, contractors have been, I guess you'd call them subcontractors of theirs that I've called around. It's basically just, how easy are they to work with, how does it work out, those type of questions, so.
So, yep, I asked a lot of questions. And I just, there's a lot of, in those 3 CM packages, there was a lot of hospitals, power plants. I didn't call those. I called jails, sheriff's office, police department, somebody that's doing law enforcement work. So out of those 3 books, I called 16 places. So.
Well, those are the ones we want. We don't worry about the.
Again, I don't care about, I didn't care about a hospital being built. I didn't care about some public works building. I wanted to talk to somebody that built jails and police departments. So, anyway, yep, I've got a lot of information that we can go over at some point when we have our sit-down meeting and decide who we're gonna choose. So, I'm more than happy to tell you what I've learned.
We're gonna put any time in for that afterwards?
And well.
Probably
make
do
a
it while
date.
everything's fresh in our head, probably do it right after we get done with interviews, be my
I
guess.
got them 11, 12, and 1.
11, 12, and 1.
Or 10, 11, and
10,
12.
10, 11.
10, 11.
And then wait 1 o'clock.
So,
Wait 1 o'clock.
I think at some point that we sit down and, while the 3 interviews are fresh, we can go over what I've learned and what Tom's learned, and then make a decision. Sooner we get it done, the sooner we can start moving.
Then the 1 o'clock on Monday will last an hour.
So, we could go, come back at 2 o'clock and start talking.
I figure it's gonna be an all day
Yep.
affair, Monday.
Pack your lunch, boys.
What if have catered?
I don't think we'll have time for lunch.
So, well, let me tell you a little secret in law enforcement. You prioritize things, one of them's eating, okay?
You never know when you're gonna get to.
So
You know.
I'll bring my Chex Mix, I guess. Anyway, anything else for me, gentlemen?
No, again, hindsight being what it is, maybe I probably should have included you in the initial conversation.
Wouldn't have known about it, Tom, wouldn't have mattered.
I would just think, concentrate on that one over there, and then I brought this forward, like I said, this drawing, I gave Mark Davison a copy of it, you know, and, Jeff Byler and Ryan Durst, and the first thought was there was maybe too much infrastructure on that north side of this courthouse, south side of the Yocho to accomplish that, so evidently that's been remedied, so
Yeah, they did,
I'm fine.
yeah, Mark said there wasn't, he just literally, there's no issues there. He said, I'm fine with it, and I'm sure the city would be.
Okay.
He said, I'd have to take it to my bosses, of course, you know.
Okay.
I said, same with me. I'll fill my people in, and hopefully we can all get together, and, I mean, for goodness sake, a little paint and take out a tree and maybe push back some curbing. It can't be that difficult.
Well, that was my first initial thought, you know, getting rid of a bunch of trees. I myself didn't want to see that happen. He said, yeah, there's probably too much infrastructure there to begin with, so.
It's no big deal, it's plenty wide enough. It should be just like downtown Burlington,
It would be,
Just quote, you have to be just like downtown.
pretty
Cut
much.
into the sidewalk is what he's talking about, be
Yeah.
just like downtown Burlington to cut it in that way.
So,
Well,
anyway,
there needs to be some dirt changing around this courthouse anyway, to get the flow to go that way instead of this way.
So with that being said, I mean, do you incorporate, or do you make a separate contractor or whatever you will to address the landscaping on the north side?
You might as well put it all in the same time, that way you're not reinventing the wheel. You gotta mess once.
I don't think it's gonna happen. And the reason I'm saying that is that Goldberg's keeps pushing us. Listen, folks, we got to get paperwork finalized. We can't keep, because we're gonna push off dates here, we're gonna just keep pushing back.
Right.
And so, personally, just from what I understand, what I believe, I think if we do that, you make that a separate project, and let's keep going with what we have, because we can't keep changing drawings, we can't keep adding
changing the
in
game.
an additional work thing for him, you know.
We could hire a
Delays are money.
landscaper to work with
Yeah.
that, people on that project.
Yeah, I mean,
Not with the city, actually, the city's who they're gonna be working with.
so, like I said, delays are money. We've got it set up now, we've got a time schedule.
Well, my involvement was to avoid just what you were talking about, delays and this and that and the other, so I thought it was doing the best I could.
Oh, no, I'm not, yeah.
But with this shining light, that does change the design, and I agree, we need to make a decision, and
Yeah, I wouldn't.
especially if we're meeting with the civil engineer Thursday at 1, then,
Yeah,
yeah, this
Yeah.
needs to be done now.
yeah.
But with that being said, that will require more, elevation shots from road and bridge to be involved, if we want them involved, or have civil send up their own shots.
Wouldn't that be the city, though, the city would need to be doing that, because that's city on city property.
True, but you need, your engineer, he needs, to know elevations, and actually, sorry, I'm thinking ahead, sorry. He'll just need to know those elevations, so he knows which way the water flows to help in the design of this project,
The church project,
any of it,
yeah.
all along the Osho Street.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because I think that water breaks right out here, the,
Northeast corner of the intersection, isn't there a drainage box that it dumps into?
yeah, there is a drainage box northeast, but the water breaks over there on Seventh. Goes two different directions, if I remember correctly. So, again, they'll just be, it's minimal,
Yeah.
they'll need something.
And yeah, and please don't take me coming up here thinking that somebody stuck their nose in someplace it shouldn't be. We just were talking to the school, and this issue came up, you know, about how we're gonna move this parking along Seventh Street and make them, have more access to the school and not get damaged. And of course, then it's just kind of dominoed into everything else, so I'm
And
not.
this is going a little bit deeper than what my original thought was,
Yeah.
so when that's.
Well, and there's a lot of
combined.
aspects to this, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
You
So
can't
many.
cover it all with one conversation, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I will touch base again with Craig and tell him that I've preliminary spoken to you, you guys didn't have a big issue with it. It's only gonna be 6 to 8 weeks of tear down, you know, and they're cutting concrete out and digging out, and so we can just keep them informed of our times, and hopefully we can move on once Goldberg gets this drawing in. I'll get it to Craig and to Wade and all of you, and we can keep moving
We
forward.
need to get that to the city because they will have to be getting on.
I told Mark as soon as I got it, I'd
that
get it to Craig and
project
him.
too. I mean, that's probably one of the first projects that really needs to be completed.
But, yeah, and that's again why I figure, I guess, it's, for lack of better terminology, stick my nose in it to make sure that parking lot gets done as quick as possible,
Right.
so that we're not
You gotta have
delaying.
parking.
Yeah, so,
Gotta
yeah.
have it.
Gotta have parking.
But yeah, I'll get it, I told Mark and Craig I'd get it to them as soon as I got the ring, and Goldberg said he'd have it to me in a day or two.
But I never thought about going west down to 8th Street. That's not a bad idea.
That's all we were thinking about, is we're eliminating, if they didn't wanna park there, just to free up things, we were gonna take away 19 spots. Goldberg said if we could put 20 between 7th and 8th, and so
There were a number of considerations that we looked at.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't the
Yeah.
first one, so that became the one that seemed most amenable to everyone,
Yeah.
at that, sitting at that table. So,
Well, I always point back here to the south, that parking lot across the street west of the Methodist Church,
Mhm.
that I've only seen like 5 vehicles in there at any given time, except for maybe on one of your busy court days.
Well,
That'll
when
probably
they,
change.
every once in a while they have a funeral, so,
Or,
Yeah.
well,
but most of the time they don't have funerals, churches anymore, so.
yeah, but,
Just to remember,
But
once
you-
the new judge is added here, you may have 2 courtrooms going at the same time.
correct.
If you have 2 courtrooms going at the same time, parking will be at a
An
premium.
issue. So do we, while we're doing that, the suggestion, I mean, one of the thoughts was to put diagonal parking on the east side of 6th Street, over there, like where Angie and them park now, there's diagonal parking, just extend it to the corner south. I mean, you're gonna pick up another.
we talked about that as well.
I mean, do we do that while we're at it? Because that picks you up 15 stalls, there's only 4 there now.
Well, one thing we're gonna have to consider is we're gonna have to relocate handicap parking.
We've talked about that too.
Because,
So, we're talking about making, if you're talking about in front of this, from the courthouse, for example.
it'll have to be where the public can use it, because the public won't be able to use these out here, because they will not be able to get in from that direction.
It has to be all over here.
But the ones right in front of, let's say, the ramp going downstairs, those won't have to be eliminated. Those, we've looked
But
at those.
Yep, those can be employed, but not, they won't be in public, because the public, if they get out there, they've gotta go all the way around the
Because
building
of
to
the
get in.
one
because
entrance.
We're going to the one entrance,
I understand that. So you're saying that you need parking on the east, handicap parking on the east?
right out here, probably close to the
6th Street.
front, yes.
Well, we've mentioned that. It didn't say we're gonna have to have handicap parking.
We've talked about the
Yeah.
handicap parking, we've also talked about the idea of emergency vehicles not being a block away. You know, how do you eliminate that, without seeming too conceited about where we're gonna be parking, but the idea of having to run a block to get to your emergency vehicle to respond to anything. So how do you set all of that up, so that it's clear where people can park once we start shutting all this down out here? When parking becomes a premium, those little signs aren't gonna mean a whole lot to folks that, you know, come up here and feel like they're gonna have to walk through blocks to get to it, so.
Again, we're still worried about, you know, our nighttime dispatchers, our jail staff coming in at nights. You know, we're gonna have somebody coming in at midnight, people leaving early in the mornings, coming in at different shifts. And we're trying to provide them the same thing,
Mhm.
you know, as secure parking when they come in and out, but
Eric, what you're saying, in a sense, this can be your parking, because if we put the parking along the Neosho out here, the public can park off of Neosho, and this could only maybe be for
Sheriff's office.
sheriff.
possibly, yeah.
Yes.
And we kinda counted those off to try and figure it out, but that would only leave about 4 spots for somebody to park to do business there. So maybe we have to look at alternatives to how we
They
park
will
and
have,
where we park.
they will have all that on down.
We're also talking to the state fire marshal and others about making, or moving the building over closer to the courthouse, right? We talked to him, and he said that there's really no problem with that 10-foot standoff, and if that's the case, the west side of that building opens up a little bit for maybe parallel parking, if not diagonal parking.
There's enough for 3 or 4 parking stalls for an officer to pull in, walk downstairs, do a report, get back up and leave without having to run, you know, a block across over to the church parking lot to get in a vehicle. That's what we're looking for, is that, you know, is that. But, yeah, I spoke to the state fire marshal yesterday, you know, there was a 30-foot variance is what Goldberg had talked about between the buildings, so having a 30-foot secure corridor coming in and out. And we talked to the city, and the city said, you only have a 10-foot variance. You don't have to do 30.
I'll make that
So-
connection breezeway a lot cheaper to connect the
Ten-
sheriff's office and the
10-foot, we're taking 30-foot, you know, obviously there. The state fire marshal said, listen, tell him to look at chart 601 or whatever it was. But he said, you're having 2 brick, concrete constructed buildings, you know, so that's not like you're putting a wood building that can burn. So he said, from what you're telling me, there would be no problem with giving a 10-foot variance there. So that's what we hoped on, was to be able to get that 10-foot closer and give us more room on the west for some additional parking, or ease for the people, the teachers parking over there to back out and pull out, whatever, so.
And that's a plus, that's 10, 15 feet that you don't have to escort someone else down a hallway.
Mhm.
Oh, sure.
There's a lot of
Absolutely.
pluses to that.
So,
Yeah.
so we're eliminating 20 foot hopefully. Now, again, there's gonna be other issues, there's gonna be a generator there somewhere. You know, there's gonna be equipment that's probably gonna be along maybe that side of the building. And we're gonna make, and we told Goldberg, if we move this closer, one thing we gotta remember is, if we have a generator out there, there'll be a generator someplace there. Then we're gonna have to worry about noise in the courtrooms and in that new, you know, in that new constructed courthouse area. So, again, right now, the 10-foot variance outweighs anything else, and we'll have to figure out where we're gonna put our generators. Because those were at one point just gonna be just to the north, of the new construction there on kind of the northeast corner.
I think that area too was gonna be a fenced-in evacuation yard for emergencies. So,
That's going by now, if there's only 10 foot,
yeah.
so.
So we're still talking diagonal parking on the east side of the courthouse on 6th?
Yes, sir.
So it's basically,
Be from 8th to 6th and south,
to
Niagara.
south to Niagara, right, and there's already diagonal parking.
Des Moines.
Or Des Moines, yeah, from already diagonal parking there, you know, south of there already.
Right.
Along that playground, east side of that playground.
Okay.
And we figured out, just by, from what Goldberg said in the diagrams and what's originally there, we'd have about 110 or 120 parking areas.
Okay.
With everything together, with the new parking and adding this diagonal parking, in. So, we originally said that was the number that we tried to wanted to begin with. Because it's not uncommon, for the last jury trial we had 109 people standing in that courtroom for jury, and before they parking, they were parking blocks away, having to walk in. So we'd always said that we wanted adequate parking.
But if you go to Ottawa, you go to Emporia, you don't park right in front of the door either.
That's correct, absolutely. Again, drive to Kansas City, drive to the federal courthouse.
If you want to park
You're
close,
walking in,
yeah,
yeah,
you're
there's
right.
not,
Yeah.
wherever you go nowadays, you're gonna have to walk.
Okay.
So it's all on the same page, that's awesome.
So again, I'll forward it on, I'll try to keep you in the loop as we hear anything else, but, other than that, I don't have anything else, just wanted to, so you know what we learned.
A lot of spokes gotta come together to meet the hub, to make this all work
Again,
out.
again, as long as we're communicating and we're keeping Goldberg in the loop as we are, then hopefully I'm not one to run forward. We can just take a step every day. Just take a step. As long as we're moving forward a step, I'm happy with the step.
And dialogue with the schools and everyone, you
Yeah.
know, you gotta keep them in the conversation.
This is a good conversation to have, but it puts us a step ahead of Thursday's meetings.
Yeah.
Got school, city, county, over.
Yeah.
There's a lot of,
Lot of.
10 entities.
Entities involved. in
Gotta
it.
have more.
Okay, you guys need anything else, you know where to find us.
As long as it works.
thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're in jail.
This morning. Sunday. It's Ricky.
No, lost the paper back in there.
Just my feelings.
Yeah, but like I say, the original conversation, maybe too much information.
All right, now, let me finish this and then I'll go,
Okay.
I'll shut it down. Okay.
All right, where it up?
Colored papers in here.
That's fine, there's one more one for you. That's just real quick. And you can use my phone. if you
Turn
want.
it upside down. By the way, I gotta go there Friday. Take a sign. We did a big fancy sign for basketball. I had to take it up and get it lighted, and then now I get to deliver it from the light to Allen Fieldhouse. Do they, she didn't need to send it. Alright. We do a lot of work there. One day, I know I was going, so I wore my K-State hat.
Tim?
I know that's hard to believe. I felt pretty welcome.
Be about like wearing a Trump hat up there.
Yeah, I understand we sold some of those cones that we bought for to the city, which I have no problem with. But I was wondering if we had to do a disposal before we could sell them.
Do what?
A bunch, we sold some of those orange cones we had to Road and Bridge.
From Road and Bridge to the city.
From Road and Bridge to the city,
Yeah,
or
anytime you get rid of something, you need to do it.
we probably needed to do a disposal on those, even though they went to the city,
Right,
We didn't really dispose them.
because we had to clear.
well, you are, because you're taking them out of any county use.
You're taking out a county.
They are no longer usage to the county. They're over $50 worth.
Yeah. And Jeff called, and there was an accident with a blade at Native and Old
Last night,
He doesn't know details, there, an ambulance was called, so.
That's east of 75.
I bet the blade went out.
Yeah.
He doesn't know if it's our employee that's being, you know, he doesn't know.
Native, no, right.
Again,
The road going to that.
Native is, 1 block,
Wow.
1 mile west of Highway 75.
Okay.
No, 1 mile east,
East.
1 mile east.
That would be Clarkson's Corner,
Clarkson's Corner.
Vet Clinic Corner.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a bad crash over at the fertilizer truck here a while back. Spray truck,
Yep.
dry fertilizer or something. So when did they sell the cones to the city?
Just recently, I guess.
Oh, really? We'll have to get the amount of how many the cones they got, what they paid for them. I mean, you just can't say it's no value to the county anymore because you got value out of it.
Yeah.
You sold
Never
it.
value of it. I mean, I have no problem selling to the city whatsoever,
Oh, no.
because they're just stored out here. We haven't
They're gonna
used it.
dry rot before you use them all.
You can tell that we've been mowing. There's a lot of tractor tire repair,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of trash out there along that road.
I will say that the blacktop between Lebo and Neutron and between 75 and Fauna is much better.
Yes.
My gosh, it was bad.
They keep those stand busy this last month. What we do when Stan retires.
There's gonna be an accident at 19 and Iris Lane one of these days as well. That's your area. West of the bridge. Jimmy Webster's old place.
Uh-huh.
They're parking in the county right away on the driveway into there. And this morning, there was a red pickup parked right along the white line facing west on the north side of the road. I don't know what is it legal to park in the right of way, on the driveway?
I would say probably temporarily, if you pulled up for a reason, you could park
This
in
is
the right.
full-time. This is
But,
full-time.
No, I don't think they have a right to make our right of way their parking spot.
Well, that's something that probably should be addressed, because they put a
I
fence up.
don't know who addresses that, whether it be Road and Bridge or whether that would be the sheriff.
Well, if they're illegally parked on a county road, it might be.
It might be both of them, yeah.
Somebody's gonna get them.
Right. Yeah, I, by there the other day, I noticed that, yeah, they park, they've got that gate, they don't have to open the gate off.
Yeah, they have to
Drive
open
through
the
it.
gate, yeah.
Well, they ought to make their little square inside so they
Mhm.
can go in like that for,
Since they moved in,
Yeah.
since they put the fence up.
Yeah. Which I never understood.
Gotta have room for the
I
animals.
would never understand why you would build a fence with a gate where every time you went somewhere, you had to open the gate and go through. But that's the point, they don't want to have to get out, open the gate, drive through, and you go close the gate again, so they just park there and walk through.
Could you imagine a snowplow coming down through there, scraping those chips up off there, hitting those cars?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, then they
Breaking
would
windows?
be after us.
Yeah, breaking windows and chipping paint and everything
Mhm.
else.
Oh, yeah. And they would
Well,
be,
and
they
it
would
could
be
be,
our
it could possibly be a hazard to the snowplow operator as well.
yeah. Because if you did that and broke out a windshield, then we'd have to give our snowplow operator drug test. Because of an accident, then, yes.
Yeah.
Would be some kind of protection.
No, it's gas.
I don't know.
It's gas as well.
I'm saying comes, I don't know. I won't touch that one.
I decided it was some kind of covering or something.
I can't even Google it.
Where's it from?
Road and Bridge.
I mean, where's it,
Well,
go
I mean,
to?
that's fine, I guess. We just,
Where's
I mean,
some kind of.
if we can build, you wanna build big, you know what I mean?
There's a new one on there.
Okay, yeah, I mean, as long as the air conditioner and everything will be fine running on, that's fine. I want a generator out there, so I can put one generator.
Yeah.
Well, would it be better doing it before at the house?
Yeah, they sell chemicals and, for de-icing and,
A lot, I know
Just
there's
a
a lot
little,
of,
stuff like
little
that for winter.
explanation.
a lot, I noticed a lot of them did not have a breakdown.
Well, the name of the one.
Just a little explanation, the answer over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
It's
pretty well
probably
could
a-
have been the hamburger patties.
a covering, yeah, rubber covering
The
for,
appreciation dinner. but-
like, we bought
but
some
do we
stuff
know?
for out back years ago for cement patch, the patching materials and for, that's what Continental Research sells, so.
I mean, that's a full spot. I just like to have this to make it. So I could have a generator if we needed to.
No. Well, we can just see this thing.
Okay, there is a house, if you on the house. Yeah, that'll be fine, that'll be fine, do that.
This is one here, Nisker deal.
Okay, thank you.
Greg Nisker goes out and gets it. I asked him about that when Doug Whitman's here. Doug said that they would never have Craig sign the ticket because that's his dad. That's what they've got right to it. So many things that this commission has directed people not to do, and it just rolls right back to whatever they want to do. Oh, and something you guys might want to think about, because I think they're getting a little lax on it. Every entity that we give money to, we used to, they had to give us a monthly report of their balances. Remember that? The cities and all them said we want to know. I haven't seen any of them from anybody for a long time. They just figure out, hey, we will, county give us money, we'll do whatever we want. But that was
That
something,
goes back to,
so that was something
what we was talking
that
about.
we requested. We're gonna give you this, but we want to know what is being spent for.
yeah,
We're not gonna micromanage you. You spend it how you want it, but we just wanna know why. And we haven't, I don't know, probably you haven't even never seen one, Tim.
yeah, I have not.
Accountability
You've
of.
probably never seen one either.
I've been here 4 years, I ain't.
You've never seen one either. No,
No.
that was something that we, as a commission, said, oh yeah, we got a lot of them right away, but then, nope. They quit, so you guys might wanna think about that.
makes sense.
That was on my list.
That was one of your lists?
But I'm telling you now, 'cause I happen to think of it right now.
Well, you know, and that's not only the city
No.
updates, I can see, since I've started, you know, we'd have, the health department would give a update once a month.
Yeah.
Emergency management would give an update once a month. Weed department would have something
Yeah.
for us. The hospital was coming in, and Wolf Creek would come in quite frequently.
Yeah.
And everything has just died off.
But all these people, they were, and for a while, we were getting, everybody was sending in, this is our monthly deal.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we spend your money, what we did. And then it's just, nope, doesn't matter, people.
Well, maybe before the next round of checks go out to the cities, if they call and ask them, go, where's your report?
But you can't just do it to the cities. You
Well,
gotta do it to everybody.
entities, yeah, your
all
entities.
the
Yeah.
entities.
Yeah, your entities that you're funding. Extension office was in here every month, every week. We haven't seen them but once since they moved.
What they want.
So you kicked him out.
Kicked them out.
I go up and see him once in a while. Haven't happened in a month.
There's a lot of those things that the commission has said, this is the way it's supposed to be, gonna be. People just ignore you. It's like, who are you? And, but it's kinda like, I always quote Tim Sipes a lot, seems like, since I've sat here. His answer was always, you gotta follow the rules. And he who has the gold makes the rules. You don't like it? Don't be a part of it.
Don't be a part of it.
Sir. Right, no.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
I about made a mistake.
Did that last month.
But it might be something
Yeah.
we'd want to send out to every organization, everyone, to send a reminder to them that, hey,
Mhm.
this is what needs to be
Monthly,
done.
nice to have some monthly reports that
Mhm.
we're supposed to be getting.
Yeah. But there's clear bottles now?
I guess so, you like Sprite?
No, I'm not right here. Just,
Can't give that thing away.
I thought they had green bottles.
You used to.
Well, that's probably why I pushed the button thinking it was,
Water?
Water.
Yeah. So I'll just take a quick break before we get into anything.
No.
Nope.
Brian.
How you doing?
Hello, Bob. All right,
1 second.
take your time.
You think we ought to go ahead
No,
and
they're
run
just
that
easement
much power over
purchases.
there to the house just for? Right, right. Well, I was just thinking while you was there, you know, that's just what I was, what I was thinking, you know. Would it be better to do it, you know, instead of having to come back?
Trouble getting them to pay. That kind of worked out now.
Well,
Must have been.
we've gotten everything handled that's been brought to our attention.
Okay.
If it's somebody else that we don't know, then
Okay.
I don't know.
All
To
right.
be able to help them.
They went to say, and I said, you're not supposed to, I don't need to know.
Right. Yeah, we don't need that.
No.
But if it's, you might tell them to reach out to me.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, well, just
I'll
something.
do that.
Because they're supposed to be getting all that done.
All right, thank you.
If there's an issue, if not, we need to get involved and get it.
Okay, after I got the new car, I went through Walgreens, and the first one, it was my Pearl, and they said $35. I said, well, wait a minute. I said, yeah, I got an RX, and it was $12 on RX, so I said, oh, let's use this code, and that's what I did, and then, I went to get it filled the next, 3 weeks later, and, it was free again, so I knew you had you mentioned that
Yeah.
had been worked out, but then I got this call.
Well, if there is somebody we need to, you might mention to them to give me a call if it's not straightened out, and we'll get it straightened out.
Alright,
Because we might have to do some cleanup
alright,
after that, so, yeah.
and then we switched from Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna run to the restroom while we're on a short break.
I'll take a 10-minute break.
Yeah.
10-minute break, resume at 10:45.
That'll work.
They're gone, so might as well just take a break. So,
Break over?
break's over. Did you have a break?
Yeah.
I figured Wade would be back here in a little bit.
You know, I just saw something, we've been talking about handicap parking and stuff out here. Just saw the mail lady walking in here with stuff. They park out behind, but they're not gonna be able to park behind and use those entrances.
Mhm.
So are we gonna have to provide a space or two for service trucks, UPS, FedEx, the mail, and anybody else who delivers things here?
We've got 2 handicap stalls on the south corner back there that never get
Used.
That can be designated for that fairly easy. That's not to say,
But a lot of these people have packages, big packages to bring in.
There's still gonna be a parking lot out here to the west. I mean, that's gonna
But
be,
they're not gonna be able
but
to
they're not
get
gonna
in.
be able to get in
They're not
because
gonna be
of
able
the
to
gate.
get in.
Or because of the doors.
Mhm. And I think the health department has, blood people who come every so often and get blood sample stuff when they're doing different things and bring different things into them. So there's some of those things that when we're redoing all the parking out here, since that's gonna be the only entrance, we need to kind of keep some of that in mind.
And the web gets weaved a little tighter and a little tighter.
Yeah.
you get the elevations designed, the actual, from the original design, they just, you can slap up a sign pretty quick and easy to designate.
See, a lot easier, get everything figured out. We're just beginning stages.
You know, the first 3 parking lots or first 3 stalls or something, and of course, 1 or 2 of them gonna be, there's gonna be some handicap there, but you can also have maybe on one side the handicap, the other side the service truck. Of the entrance sidewalk out here.
Yeah, I'll go back there, Martin David, tonight's original conversation was, maybe a lot of utilities on the north side of the courthouse, there to get that off-street parking like that. sticking out at the street. He's probably drove by there several times. Of course, I was thinking there was gonna be tons of trees coming out.
Mhm.
Well, when you first look, I mean, that would be your thought, it would, there are probably utilities and all this stuff here. and-
Let's see, that's a main street.
You probably went and checked it out and said, well,
That's fine. That'd be great. That's fine.
and are we anticipating angle parking on the other side of the street too, in front of the church? Or the
Well, it
church
depends
will?
on the entrances of the church, if the entrance is gonna come off the east road, or if it's gonna come off the north road.
He's got it designed coming off the
East road.
He's got it coming off
the south end of the parking lot.
onto Neosho, onto Neosho, but
Diagonal parking on the east side of the,
I just don't feel like, my personal opinion is, I don't feel like you should have your parking coming onto to the main road if you can avoid it.
that wouldn't take a whole lot to switch it.
Hmm.
That wouldn't take a whole lot to
No, it
switch it
wouldn't.
again. Just by Thursday.
And then you could put parallel parking on that side, and that would put people closer to the door, diagonal, yeah.
Cause it's already set back enough off the
Well,
road.
Yeah, they park,
The only,
they park in there.
the only thing, Mark, I think, was thinking, and I could be wrong on that thought, that to do this, he was wanting to put a lighted crosswalk deal
Mm-hmm.
down here as well as here. And he was thinking, we were both thinking, I guess, that time that diagonal parking would interrupt that. Make it more difficult to create that.
But, yeah, and I know, but at the same time, do you want people coming out of this? Because hopefully, I'm thinking this has got to be a one-way to get,
I would assume.
do you want people coming out, and if they go this way, oh, once you've got a crosswalk right there, if they come out, they're not really seeing that light. If you bring them the other direction, the people using the crosswalk are kind of out of the way of the traffic. That'd be my only thinking.
I'm down for whatever.
Just, I don't care how they do it, it just, get it done, and whatever it is, it works, but, yeah, they came up with the idea that we could put for the employees, there'd be parking over there, a crosswalk down here, and come back to,
Mhm.
and that would also affect this diagonal parking.
Right, and that's where, that was another hindrance, I think Mark and I discussed that first time, but the only time we met, really.
But they could take it down to this corner, basically, and put it.
Yeah,
They could walk.
it could go to the neck.
But it could, or they could walk down a little bit, it could be done, whatever
And
that
they
is.
could use everything, you know, fix it's raining.
Well, why don't we just put, either do a tunnel or do a little bridge, so they wouldn't even have to stop for the light.
School driveway or is that ours?
City street, isn't it?
That's 8th Street.
Yeah, that is 8th Street.
Or no, that's 7th, excuse me, that's,
Part of that is the school.
that's where you drive in to use the parking
Yeah.
lot here.
I'll tell you what, seeing,
I don't know who, I don't think that's anybody's road, I think that's the city's road, it's just shared between the two.
that's asphalt.
I think the parking is on the schools.
The parking is the schools.
The schools, but the road itself is just, I think it's just city.
I see, I'm anticipating that whole,
It'll be gone.
well, it'll go back, but
Be a paved alley, basically.
Well, no,
it'll have to be repaved, because it's gonna be trash on it.
It is gonna be
The school
trash.
will use that
Right,
for drop off.
right, no, I know,
Yeah,
but
paved,
it would be basically a paved
They
alley.
need, they'll
'Cause
need
you go
to make,
across the street, that's
they
half a
really
block.
need to make
Yeah.
that a one-way, is what they really would.
They really do in the morning, I watched it
Oh, yes.
this morning dropping off, there are people, they just circled around and went out,
They used to, but that's where they used to load the buses.
you know.
Years ago, they used to load the buses on.
Are they gonna, this parking lot here will not be touched, right?
Correct, well, it's gonna be storage for construction for quite some time, that's what Johnson was bringing up, where his people are gonna park temporarily, keeping. So, all this angle parking, all this angle parking out here, all that. And he's also talking about, he's got his undersheriff from there, and he gets a call, where's his vehicle gonna be parked? They have several here. I don't know.
evidently the school said no.
Yeah. That should add quite a few.
Yeah, I think it would,
Yeah.
because this, you got, I counted, there's only like 4 there now. And a rough measurement, it's like 15 to 15 in there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking might as well do it while you're doing these or more.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no reason to,
You
there's no
you
reason
guys
not
agree
to.
with that over here, like this where Angie and several people park now, just taking that on while we're doing all this?
I don't have any problem with it. I think that it would be great, because you're gonna take a little bit of these right here for handicap.
Uh-huh,
And I think having them over there across the street would be ideal.
okay, all right.
It'd be my thing.
I just wanted,
The more,
it is,
the more closer you get, the better you got.
get as much input on this Thursday deal as possible, so everybody's on the same page.
Yep.
I don't think city would have a problem with that.
No, well, that's where I go back to Mark and I, the original conversation was that maybe there's too much infrastructure, and I said, okay, what about here? And he said, well, I think that's a dead sewer, there is a manhole there for sewer in the center of this. He said it's dead, because there's just, they looked down in there, and there's pop cans and all kinds of stuff laying there, so I said, it can't be working. And then, I don't know, we talked, I guess we did talk one other time, we didn't go back to this parking, but he said that sewer guy said, water department said it was, actually live.
But can't you put a manhole over the parking?
Yeah, you can, I mean, you just have to adjust the.
Just have to lower the riser down.
Yeah.
Or adjust it.
It's not a huge deal, it's just still.
I see manholes on streets and stuff all the time.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not a huge deal, but you actually have one in the center of the sidewalk down over here too. And you got one in the center here.
Down at the middle of, the 800 block on the Osho, you said the water kind of splits at 7th. In the middle of the 800 block down there where about
Rick's right here.
Raymond Reicher, Red Walling used to
Mhm.
live. There's a drain there on both sides of Neosho where the water
Well, there's one,
goes down.
there's 1 or 2 storm sewer boxes at 8th in the Ocho too. I know there's one right there on the corner. I think there's one across on the corner too.
8th and Neosho there, Bobby Rainbow, old place.
No, that'd be 9th. 8th, at the end of this, basically, this is 7th.
Oh, 8th, yeah, 8th, yeah,
There's one there.
yeah. Yeah, there is.
I drive by it every day.
Yeah, and then there's one there in the middle of 9th too.
Yep. They're on the end. They're mostly at each corner. But like I say, you got a sewer manhole in the center of the sidewalk on that handicap ramp leading to the north. And there's another one partway down in the yard over here.
But if the city redoes this, they can put big enough line pipe in and handle
I'm
it.
talking sanitary, not storm.
Oh, sanitary,
Yeah,
oh, okay. Still,
yeah.
caps, I mean. right?
Yeah, no, it can be adjusted, it's not a big deal, just, they're there, so. But the deal of it is, when you do this diagonal parking on it, how to say this, that when it comes off the street, it's gotta have some rise to it to get back to the flow line, to get out to the storm sewer, so. Which, they don't need a whole lot of rise.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'll go back to, they'll probably have to have some shots along the sidewalk too. That sidewalk may be,
In the church parking lot, we are gonna angle them now, right?
I would hope. You ever tried to park into a straight parking lot?
You get in a pickup, it's such a pain.
You get in a,
You
when
go
they
back
do
in.
4-door pickups, it's,
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah. Just back in.
if you,
What about a dually, four doors?
If you angle it, make it a one-way,
Park it out in the street.
you know, you might be able to have more space even in between.
Right.
Yeah, I always have to go to city engineering for it, like once or twice a week sometimes, and it's like, I just park across the street in a 1 hour thing, as opposed to 2 hour thing in a municipal parking lot. That's the way it is. And they make them as narrow as they
Oh, yeah.
can.
Well, yeah.
I think they put a geo in there and painted around it, almost like crime scene
Yeah.
body chalk.
Yeah. And you're right, the Lyon County Courthouse, you're not parking very close there.
And then the same way as Ottawa. If they're going
Ottawa
back to Ottawa,
was a
you may
pain.
park a
Oh,
long
yeah.
ways off.
You got your business on Main, and they're full.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Well, I think the city would be in favor of it, because it's improving their city, so,
Yeah.
one bit.
But again, the conversation I had with Mark Davison, street department, whatever we're doing, if we're causing a hindrance on them, then we'll remedy it, so.
I texted Wade, see if he had anything for us. He ought to be out of his,
I think he said all he had was Tom.
Tom.
I don't remember.
Wait, I think you're correct, going to Tom, he didn't have anything but Tom. That's the reason why I suggested, hey,
We're
bring
doing
Tom in.
that. We want scat?
I think we oughta, did you text
I
Wade?
texted him, but if he's still.
Yeah, prosecutor of the year,
He did.
Is that what that was?
Mm-hmm.
bunch of good smelly food in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of good smelly food in there.
No, you was, yeah, they told us to come over.
You might have something.
Is that in district court?
Do what?
Is that in district court?
I don't know. The prosecutor of the year?
No, the good smelly food.
I don't know, it was in his court, in his office.
Oh, in his office.
I guess if anybody's got anything, then bring it up Monday. Got any new roundtable, Angie?
I do not.
Okay.
Just be ready for Monday. Do you guys want anything to order for lunch, or you might be thinking about that if you're gonna, because you're not gonna get a
We're
lunch.
gonna
We're not
have,
gonna get a lunch break.
we're not gonna get a lunch break unless it's after the last one, and Wade's at 1 o'clock.
But I didn't know if you wanted, like, to order pizza or something and grab a piece while you're walking. I don't know.
I'd say just, I don't know, maybe like beef sticks or,
Like a cheese meat tray or something,
that might work.
wouldn't be bad.
with some veggies or
Yeah.
something.
That way, you could, in between each deal, you might be
Yeah,
able to get a
grab
couple little bits.
a little bit of cheese and some meat.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah,
work.
that works.
That'll work.
What kind of meat do you guys like from,
There's a certain kind of salami or something that I don't care for.
yeah, I know.
Summer sausage, I just use
Summer sausage of any kind.
Yeah, there's some kind of,
Some aren't very
summer
good.
something, there's one of them summer sausages that's really greasy, and then there's another one that's really good. I don't want too greasy, but
Trying to figure that out.
But just,
just don't eat it.
ham and turkey and just leave it at that, that's all white meat.
We gotta have
I don't
beef,
really care, I'm not picky at all.
beef.
Okay.
Just do something, man.
Well, it'll be easy just to dump some veggies on a tray and put a
Mhm.
dip and meat and
Who wants
cheese.
veggies?
Well,
I
I
do.
didn't know if you wanted that too, or do you want just like a,
You want meat and
I
potatoes?
I like carrots.
I guess we could do a charcuterie board.
What, or what?
Charcuterie board. We have different meats, cheese, olives, and different things like that. I don't know if you've ever seen.
Just do whatever. We will make it.
We'll eat it, trust us.
After probably about the second, we'll be looking for something.
Yeah, I think you will.
So other than that,
And
we're
it's
gonna have a
Halloween.
pretty light agenda Monday then.
Okay.
I mean, other than because we're already blocked out for 4 hours, right?
Right, but you still, let's see,
I looked at it.
We've only got an hour.
it's full. I mean, from 9 o'clock on, it's full, 'cause, I gotta get my agenda open.
It's only Wednesday, so the agenda
Yeah.
will change by Friday, so.
Right, so
5
you'll have the
times.
governmental assistance guys here,
Mm-hmm.
that you were here last week, and then Rhonda's coming in for an update on the Meadows property. And then you'll have those interviews, so it's gonna be hectic.
Busy.
And well, I mean, that's okay.
Yeah,
I don't mind during my night.
What's that?
Yeah, we're inside all day, it might as well be raining outside.
I hope it is.
Well, I guess
Oh, yeah.
we'll adjourn until Monday. We'll adjourn at 11:05.
Yes, sir, you too.
Speak out, forever hold your peace.